you kind of have to have a confidence to jump into some of the roles that you've taken, though. But I see what you're saying, like that you don't want to hold on to it.
Because it can come and go. I remember Warren Beatty, who I learned so many amazing things from. I was doing a movie called The Pickup Artist with Molly Ringwald.
I remember that movie.
Okay, and he was kind of the de facto producer of it, uncredited. And he taught me a lot about just acting and what it was. And he said, what's your action in this scene? And I was like, oh, no, he's asking me. I was like, my action, I'm picking up girls. He goes, what's your action in this scene? And I was like, I'm driving a car. And he asked me, like, you know that thing sometimes when someone asks you a question and just you get caught flat-footed? And he goes, no, your action is you're trying to go to work, but you're getting distracted by this addiction you have to trying to get laid. So your action is you're trying to get to work. And I was like, oh, yeah, he's right. And he said, always know what your action is, because then when you come in the morning confident, or when you come in the morning and you can't hit your ass with both hands, you know what to do. So to me, one of the great lessons I learned from him was, oh yeah, just boil down what it is you're doing, whether there's a camera around or just what am I doing today. Today I'm showing up and I'm trying to be honest and also to listen and learn. But really, my action today is I'm beginning a process of promotion.
Warren Beatty's another guy who learned how to put his guns down.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like I remember watching that Madonna movie. Remember when he was dating Madonna?
Truth or Dare.
Yeah,
So
and
awesome.
He's hanging around with her, and she's in the throes of fame and everything, and he's like, "What in the fuck is going on here?" And you see
like
him.
he's never seen it.
Yeah, but he's an older gentleman now.
It's the best.
And he's hanging out with her and just shaking his head, and that kind of marked it for me. Where Warren Beatty just realized, all right, let me step away real quick. If I had to talk to him, one thing I would ask him is, what was it like when Carly Simon writes a song about you? That's got to be a trip.
So many. I mean, we should do a whole session just about things I learned from Warren Beatty.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
I would imagine he's a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Clearly. Do you think that you could do Tropic Thunder today? Would that be possible?
Oh, you could do it. And again, like Eddie, I look back to me. That movie to me was a circle back to my dad's movie called Putney Swope, which I highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen to see, about a black guy who takes over an ad agency in the 60s because everyone votes for him when the head of the company dies because they think no one else will. And it's about what happens when someone who is free-spirited takes over an essentially corrupt endeavor. And then he realizes and confronts his own corruption. But I remember I was probably 2 or 3 when that was being shot and when it came out, and it was so a part of my upbringing, and I just remembered some of the folks that were around my dad at that time. And so when Ben called and said, hey, I'm doing this thing, and I think maybe Sean Penn had passed on it or something like that, possibly wisely. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll do that after Ironman. And then I started thinking, this is a terrible idea. Wait a minute. And then I thought, well, hold on, dude. Get real here. Where is your heart? And my heart is, I get to be black for a summer in my mind. So there's something in it for me. The other thing is I get to hold up to nature the insane self-involved hypocrisy of artists and what they think they're allowed to do on occasion. Just my opinion. And also Ben, who is a masterful artist and director, probably the closest thing to a Charlie Chaplin that I've experienced in my lifetime. He writes, he directs, he acts. If you had seen him when he was directing this movie, you would have been like, I'm watching David Lean, I'm watching Chaplin, I'm watching Coppola. He knew exactly what the vision for this was. He executed it. It was impossible to not have it be an offensive nightmare of a movie. And 90% of my black friends are like, dude, that was great.
What about the other 10%?
I can't disagree with them, but I know where my heart was.
Yeah.
And I think that it's never an excuse to do something that is out of place and not of its time. But to me, it was just it was a blasting cap on. And by the way, I think White Chicks came out pretty soon after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
I was like, that was great.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it might be the last time we see that, unless things change. It seems like no one can really. I don't think you could do blackface anymore. I mean, we almost lost the Prime Minister of Canada because he did brownface. He
Yes.
pretended to be Saudi Arabian, right?
Yeah.
He did Arabian Nights in high school or something like that.
It's an interesting and necessary meditation on where is the pendulum, why is the pendulum right,
Yeah.
where is the pendulum maybe cutting a little into what could be perceived as heart in the right place, openness of its time. But again, I mean, there's a morality clause here on this planet, and it's a big price to pay. And I think having a moral psychology is job one. So sometimes you just got to go, I effed up. Again, not in my defense, but Tropic Thunder was about how wrong that is.
Yes.
So I take exception.
No, I think you could do it today.